All right, guys, welcome back to the From the Sideline podcast. I'm Francis.
And I'm Peter, and we're so happy to be back with you guys today. It's been so long. We just had lacrosse season. It was a lot, but it's over now, and we're going to be coming every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks maybe, as sort of as the news comes up. But one thing before we get into the agenda, follow our TikTok. We've been posting a lot on there, especially Francis. I haven't been posting a ton, but I'm going to be starting to do that a little more.
From the Sideline Pod on TikTok.
Yep, and then the YouTube, I'm going to be, it's kind of toned down a little, but I was planning on making a video about the Mariners.
Yeah, we'll turn it up in the summer.
Yes, and then also follow the Instagram just for any updates, because that's how you're going to hear about TikTok and the posts and all of that stuff. Okay, moving to the agenda. We have a lot to cover. It's only like about 3 categories, but there's so much in the categories since that we've missed so much time. So we're going to start off just talking Seahawks. We haven't even talked about the Kupp signing, which was almost 2 months ago. So don't want to talk about it too much right now, but we're about to. So stay tuned for that. Then we're going to talk about the Seahawks draft. Then we're going to talk about the overall draft, what we thought about that. And then we're going to talk about the Mariners, because obviously that season started and is up and running.
Okay. Thank you so much for listening and tuning in. Make sure you listen to the whole episode. Follow, notification bell. Let's get right into it. So, starting off with Kupp. I'm still in, it's been, how long has it been? 2 months since the signing, and I'm still in disbelief. I mean, I was in my car, and then my friends called me, and I didn't believe it was true, and then I looked at my Instagram, and I saw it was true, and I started screaming. I had to pull over. And I'm still in disbelief. I mean, I'm so high on Kupp. I'm higher on Kupp than most people are. I still have him as a top 10 receiver. I think he's super consistent. Barring any injuries, I think he's just a consistent slot running receiver. And pairing him up with JSN is going to be deadly in Clint Kubiak's offense. We know he runs a lot of play action and intermediate and short routes, and that's kind of Kupp's specialty. And we've seen how consistent he can be. He won Offensive Player of the Year, his Triple Crown season. They won the Super Bowl MVP. We know the caliber of player he is, and people are saying he's on his decline, but I still think he's in the at the end of his peak. So I think we still got a couple seasons in him. I thought this was a great trade, and signing. But I'm super excited to see how Kupp does this season. What do you think?
Yeah, first of all, I love the signing, love the contract.
Yeah, the contract is great.
Yes, it's a great contract. He's 31, 30, something like that. He's in his low 30s, but I mean, I really like the signing, and I think it's a really good fit for our team. Mm-hmm. Just it's not really that we have 2 slot guys. I mean, Kupp, he's proven that he can be the ace of a team. I'm not as high as him on Francis, because I think when you look at his career as a whole, obviously he had that one insane season where he set a bunch of records, had so many catches, so many yards, Super Bowl MVP. He was Super Bowl MVP. 1,900 yards, 2021. But after that, he has not been great. He has gotten injured a lot, but then Puka kind of just took over for him in the whole Rams thing. At the end of last year, he was struggling a little. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see what's going to happen with that. But I think with JSN and I think with Clint Kubiak, Kupp is he fits into Clint Kubiak's system, sort of. He's a short guy. Short route runner guy who gets open. And I think it's going to work in our system as opposed to a guy like DK, who's a big receiver who doesn't really fit into, DK didn't really fit into our offense before, and he certainly doesn't fit into the new scheme now. So I don't think he would have worked as much as Kupp's going to work, and I think it's really good to have a new sort of fresh start when we have Kubiak. So I do like that signing. I mean, obviously, it's Kupp. He's a great player. He's a household name, and it's going to be awesome to see him, his homecoming to the Seahawks. But, so you think we should move on to the draft?
Well, just really quick, I just wanted to say, about the DK situation and signing Kupp. I think...
Have we talked about the DK trade?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did.
DK wasn't really fitting into our system, and he was more of a big play, explosive, outside X receiver kind of guy.
Well, can I say something?
Yeah.
I saw Elite Takes talk about this 2 months ago on TikTok. But he's insanely big and strong and athletic, but he doesn't play like it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm even just, like, not disregarding analytics, which proves that, but, like, when you look at the eye test, like, he never, like, bodies guys, and he never, like, high points. Well, he bodies them after the play and gets unnecessary roughness penalties, but he never, like, high points the ball and just muscles it down like you see A.J. Brown do, and I think that's the difference between him and a guy like A.J. Brown, because I always thought, I know Francis too, that he was going to develop that, but he's kind of, we're in year, what are we now? Year
like 7.
Yeah, year 6 or 7. No, 6, 7. But I feel like that's the time where you kind of got to just realize that he is what he is.
Yeah.
And so looking back a few months after that trade, I feel a lot better about it, because it was kind of sad to see a guy like that leave that I've loved ever since we drafted. But upon further reflection and time, I think it was definitely the right decision. That third-round pick, we can segue this into
the draft.
Into the draft, Jalen Milroe. Let's just start off with that. I know he's not the first-round pick.
Okay.
But let's start off with Milroe. You want to go first, Francis?
Yeah, sure. So I talked about this in my TikTok, but I think that third-round picks are actually kind of slept on for the value you can get with them.
For sure.
And I feel like it's really just first round and then like kind of second round that like the casual NFL fan will be like happy with the picks and then don't really know anybody else. But the third round, I think, is where you can get some guys that like could have potentially been first round picks if they had like one thing or if they didn't have this one injury. And I think Jalen Milroe is exactly that. I think the third round is a great place to go for a home run pick while also, kind of going with a guy that you know is going to be a stud. And I think Jalen Milroe does exactly that for us. I mean, obviously we got Sam Darnold. He's grown on me ever since we signed him. And Jalen Milroe can develop behind him this season. I don't know how long it's going to take for him to develop, but obviously he's not going to be a year one starter. He's way too raw to be an NFL starting quarterback. But he's by far the most athletic quarterback in this draft, one of the most athletic players we've ever seen. Or most athletic quarterbacks we've ever seen coming out of the draft, and we've seen what he can do with his legs. We know he has a deep ball arm power to throw it on those long routes. Nick Saban told the press that whoever is getting him is getting a big time player, but he even admitted that he needs to work on his reads and progressions in the short and intermediate routes. But that's why we have him developing under Sam Darnold in an NFL team with NFL coaching.
I would I was shocked by this pick when I saw it, where Francis and I and our other friend were sitting together, and I was just shocked by it. But then I've been thinking, and I just absolutely love it.
Yeah.
I would take Jalen Milroe over every other quarterback besides Cam Ward in this draft. And I'm going to go through why. I'm not going to focus too much on this, but I'm just going to list each one. I would take him over Jackson Dart because Jackson Dart isn't very good and is a third or fourth round talent.
Way too reckless, too.
He comes out of the Ole Miss offense, which gives everything to you. Isn't really not that I would really know this much, but just from what I've seen with him and like John Gruden and stuff, he's not really that much of a student of the game. Like he just kind of, this isn't really a analytics-based take. This is just an opinion, and it's probably not based in reality that much. But he doesn't really seem like that much of a football guy. He's just a guy who plays football to be cool.
Yeah.
And maybe that's because of his hair or because of his eye black, but
that might just be hating.
I mean, it might be hating, but it might have some truth to it. Because when a guy focuses on stuff like that, you can maybe make an inference that he might not care a bunch about everything else. And also, with that, putting that just opinion aside, his style of play is just the system he was in was super easy, and he wasn't that good in it. I don't know if you guys saw the game against Tennessee. That was one of the worst quarterbacked games I've ever watched from both sides. Nico versus Jackson Dart. He threw four picks, and they were all so stupid, the decisions. Yeah, I don't. And in Lane Kiffin's system, if you look that stupid, I don't know, because no quarterback has worked out from that system.
Matt Corral.
I know the Stay Hot guys all thought he was going to be good. Didn't work out. Chad Kelly didn't work out. Who's the other one? There's someone.
I feel like there's one more recent, but anyway.
There's one more that we can't think of. I can't think of him. Okay, definitely not Jackson Dart. Also doesn't have freaky athletic.
Yeah, definitely not.
I think Jalen Milroe obviously hasn't beat on that. And then Shedeur Sanders, he's probably like a little better than Milroe floor-wise. He's probably definitely better than Milroe floor-wise. Sure. Ceiling-wise, not at all. And then also, he brings so much baggage with him. It is not worth it to take him as a third string or backup quarterback. Yeah. Because think about all that pre-draft stuff, and he thinks he's him. Like, it's just not, you can't, bringing that onto your team is just so, like, it can be so detrimental, and he doesn't even have that much potential to be an insane starter. So I don't see why you would think about doing that, especially with the upside Milroe has. Tyler Show, he's 25.
Yeah, I'm good off that.
I mean,
he wasn't even good.
He was fine, but I don't think we need to spend that much time. I think everyone agrees that that's a reach, but he's going to be their starting quarterback because Derek Carr retired.
That's so sad.
Poor Derek Carr, by the way. But, injuries. That injury in 2016 after that 12-4 season. Just so sad to derail his career. Yeah. Okay, but moving on. I think those were all the ones. Dylan Gabriel got drafted before him. Like 2 picks for him. That's just super stupid. He's super old. He has maybe a slightly higher floor or a way lower ceiling.
I wouldn't even say he has a higher floor. He's pretty bad.
Yeah. Maybe he doesn't have a higher floor. I'm trying to find something to compliment him on. Sorry, Dylan Gabriel, if you're watching this video, we just dissed the F out of you. I mean, you're definitely not, but that was super mean. But for Milroe, he's okay. I'm just gonna go trait by trait. He's so insanely athletic in terms of his legs. Obviously, his running ability is insane. In college, he rushed for so many touchdowns and a bunch of yards, and his ability to improvise is insane. I think he's actually a better improviser than a pure scrambler, which is really good at the NFL level because improvising is so important, especially in this new game. Also, obviously, his decision-making needs a lot of work. But that's the point of the NFL. That's the point of coaching. And from what I've seen, he's developed a lot throughout the OTAs. So I've been really liking what I've been seeing, and I saw one thing that said we're going to put him in a few packages this year to use his athleticism, similar to
Taysom.
Yeah, no. I wasn't thinking of Taysom. I was thinking of
Justin Fields.
Yeah, Justin Fields. So I think that's a pretty good idea because when you have an athlete like that, it's good to get him out in the field, and then obviously he can throw a football a very long way. And then second of all, I know that he can change his decision making, that he can better his decision making and that stuff. Because he's such a good student and a good character off the field. He really takes pride in his reputation and everything he does, and he is a football guy. So I think those factors, that influences your development so much, and those are really, really good traits to have. Should we move on to a different player? You want to touch on him at all?
Before we move on to our earlier round picks, I just want to talk about how I've seen reports that he's they're implementing VR training into his development, which is something that Jaden Daniels did last season with the Commanders, and we saw how he turned out. I'm not saying that Jalen Milroe is going to be as good as Jaden Daniels was off rip, but I mean, if that, I don't really know how that works, but I think it just helps him go through his reads and progressions at an NFL pace and level of play. But if that helps him out, then I'm all here for it. And also, Peter's point on putting him in packages, I saw conflicting reports about that because I saw Mike McDonald saying that they have no intention of using him in the offense besides just him being a pure quarterback. But then I also saw other reports saying that he could be used in packages like Peter said. And so I don't really know what's going to happen. I would not be opposed at all to having him in for RPOs or whatever and having him in a Justin Fields, Taysom Hill not Taysom Hill the receiving way, but just running the ball, and then maybe when they're least expecting, he can dump off a pass or something. I don't know, but I'm excited to see how Jalen Milroe develops. I'm not even really expecting him to be our starting quarterback ever, but the fact that
I kind of am, honestly. It's like a wishful dream.
But I'm not really expecting it. But the upside, he definitely has the highest upside of any quarterback in this draft. And if it does work out, I think we could have a top 5 quarterback in the league if everything works out. Which might be being a little optimistic. But okay, let's move on to just. So let's spend a little less time on the picks because we spent a lot of time. Let's start with Gray Zabel.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone's ever spent that much time on a first round or on a third round pick.
But I made a whole TikTok about Gray Zabel and why he was an A+ pick. Just quickly going over that, he just fits so well into Clint Kubiak's scheme because Clint Kubiak runs a zone blocking run scheme and he runs the ball a lot. And Gray Zabel was absolutely dominant in the run game at North Dakota State. And the key aspects you need to be like a zone blocking offensive lineman, you need to be very mobile and like good in your feet, mobile in space, lateral agility, and getting to the second level. And Gray Zabel checked every single box at an elite level at all of those. He's 6'6", and he has a near 40-inch vertical. That's insane. Near 40-inch vertical. And also, he's a great character as well. I love players that have good characters.
He's just a country redneck boy who just cares about football. And that's
drink some beer.
Yeah. Sorry, earmuffs to our under 21 viewers, including us. So we're yeah.
But yeah, A+ pick for the first round.
Yeah. I feel like this is so straightforward, and I absolutely love it. Because John Schneider, I was so worried that we weren't going to pick an offensive lineman. Like, I wanted an edge, but deep down I knew we needed an offensive lineman.
It was obviously our biggest hole.
And I didn't during the college football season, I'm going to keep it a buck, I just didn't know who Gray Zabel was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Francis did either. But then when I was doing my research, especially like the 2 weeks before the draft, he just shot up and the Seahawks draft board. It was a Senior Bowl.
Yeah.
And then he just shot up the Seahawks draft board and became one of their 2 choices. Who was the other one? Tetaroa McMillan. He excels in pretty much every run blocking, pass blocking. It's just such a straightforward pick, and John Schneider doesn't really tend to do that with the offensive line, so it was an awesome pick. It's needed. It's obviously by far and away the biggest weakness of our team, and it was a great pick. So moving on to second round, trading up to number 35 for Nick Emenwari, the most athletic safety at the combine that there's ever been. I absolutely love this pick. Yeah. I was everything I've really seen about the Seahawks draft, I was like feeling a little not great like after it. Not great, but I'm feeling way better now just after analyzing each of the players. Maybe it's like wishful thinking, but he's so athletic, and when you have an athletic player like that, and then you have Mike McDonald, the defensive guru, you saw what he did with Kyle Hamilton in his first year, turned him into an all-pro elite player. It just makes me so happy to think about because the potential is genuinely off the charts. He was definitely a first-round talent, especially after the combine. Everyone had him in the first round, and then he somehow fell down the draft boards. I know safety is not that valuable of a position, in terms of the grand scheme of things. But when you think about it that way, you realize that you're getting a higher quality player at a way lower price. Like if he was, I don't know if this is going to make sense, but if he was that level of skill in comparison to his position, but he was a corner or he was an edge rusher, he would be a top 10 draft pick. Like if Shamar Stewart or someone was a safety, he would be like a third or fourth round pick because he's just all athleticism. But Nick Emenwari's athleticism is so high up, and his play is still pretty good, but his athleticism and potential is so far up that he was projected to be a first round talent anyways. So if you're a Seahawks fan, which I'm assuming most of you are, you guys should get so excited for this because watching number 3 on the field, the potential is just off the charts. And that's kind of a big theme of this draft, I think. Just the potential, especially if our coaching situation works. And I have a lot of confidence in the defense and Mike McDonald to get that done. Like, I would be very surprised if he turns into a bad player.
Yeah, I mean, I think this defense is destined for greatness. I think we could have the best defense in the league. I mean, we didn't lose any key players in our defense. And we added Nick Emenwari, who's like a Swiss Army knife. And Peter was saying that like how safety's in not very valued position relative to other positions, which is true. But I think with Mike McDonald, the safeties could be maybe the most valuable position on the defense for us because of how much of a mastermind Mike McDonald is. And we, like Peter said, we saw what he did with Kyle Hamilton. But I'm so excited because I've seen so many interviews of Mike McDonald, and the aspect I want to emphasize the most is that Nick Emenwari is so versatile and he has so much potential for like positional versatility, and I think he could play a lot of different places. He's big enough to get in the box. And watching his tape is incredible. He's good enough in coverage to play like kind of as a cornerback and guard like opposing tight ends or even slot receivers. And obviously he can play safety. He runs a sub 4.4 40, which is insane for 6'4". I think I saw a stat that was like only him and DK have been players at the Combines who are 6'4" who run a sub 4.4 40. His positional versatility is going to be super exciting to see. I think Mike Macdonald said they're going to start playing him at like nickel, which is kind of what Devin Witherspoon plays, and just he has the athleticism and the size to just literally play anywhere, and he's going to be all over the field in coverage, in zone coverage and man coverage, just going downhill tackling in the run game. I'm so excited to see what Mike Macdonald does with him. And then we already talked about Jalen Milroe. The rest of our picks, I mean, we kind of skim over them. Yeah, I mean, I think that was like a B pick.
I'd tell you a B minus. I don't think tight end was the right pick there. But we don't need to spend
I just think it's because we're probably going to move on from Noah Fant and AJ Barner. I mean, bro, I don't know why, but on social media, like, there's so much AJ Barner glaze. I don't know why. He's not that good.
He's like a 4th round pick, and he's just. I definitely don't see the potential with him.
Yeah, I feel like he's kind of like...
And with Arroyo.
Low, like, kind of...
With Arroyo, I see the potential. But we should move on, just the overall draft as a whole. So, I'm just going to go one by one for, like, the first 5 picks. Cam Ward, obvious pick. They need a quarterback. I'm not that high on them, neither is Francis. But
definitely not first overall
but
type prospect.
They need a quarterback. So
obviously, they're going to go there.
He's a top... He's, like... probably like the 15th. I think he's a pretty good player. So I would say he's like the 15th best.
Yeah, I'm around there too.
Yeah. So fine pick for the Titans. Could definitely work out. Could be like
I honestly think his ceiling is like maybe Pro Bowler.
No, I think his ceiling is higher than that.
Like, I'm pretty low on him.
I'm higher than Francis on him. Second overall pick, Jags trade up a ton. Travis Hunter.
I think it was worth it.
Yeah. If they traded up that much, I heard Francis talking about this. They traded up that much for him. There's no way they don't play him on both sides of the ball. And I think Jacksonville is a really good place for him to just use his skill set in the fullest. I think he's such a good receiver. I know everyone says he's a corner, but he's genuinely an insane receiver. And he's definitely the best receiver in this draft. He's such a freak athlete. I think it was a good trade, even though they gave up a ton. Good trade for the Browns as well.
Yeah, but I think they should have stuck it because I think Travis Hunter's that good. But I mean, if they weren't willing to take the risk to play him on both sides, and he wasn't going to be elite on both sides, I mean, I kind of get it. But the Jags really got a good pick here.
Yeah. 3 Giants, Abdul Carter. They have the best defensive line in the NFL.
That's insane.
It is so scary. I feel like they have to trade Thibodeau. But let's just go one by one. Okay, they have Thibodeau, Brian Burns,
and
Abdul Carter, and Sexy Dexy.
That's insane.
Dexter Lawrence is the best interior defensive lineman in the league, in the NFL.
Kayvon Thibodeau might have to go.
Yeah, and he's still an above average player.
Yeah, he's like a near Pro Bowl.
If the Seahawks snatched him up, that would be so awesome, and his potential is off the charts. So that's just absolutely insane. Abdul Carter is
blue chip prospect.
He's so good. I've been seeing people who are like lower on him. I don't get it at all. He has so much burst, and his finesse bag is so deep. Yeah. Off the edge, he's an insane player.
If you watch any of the Penn State games, specifically the Notre Dame game, he
runs there.
He wrecks the game for Notre Dame and seriously impacts the game.
He's a game wrecker.
Yeah.
Brian Burns, a Pro Bowler. It's just gross.
But the Giants still sad because they're gonna suck still. So.
Yeah, I feel bad for that whole unit because they are gonna have to carry that team.
Yeah.
4th, Patriots, Will Campbell. Francis hates him. I feel fine about him, even though his arms are super short.
I don't even really hate him, but just 4th overall for him, that's a little crazy.
He wasn't my favorite tackle in the draft.
Yeah.
I would say I like Kelvin Banks more. I didn't like Josh Simmons more, but
I like Josh Simmons
I would say he's probably my tackle too. So, but they drafted an offensive lineman. It's a fine pick. I would have probably traded back.
I would take Membu over him too.
Maybe.
Yeah. But I would have Campbell as my offensive tackle 4. But obviously the Patriots needed O-line. I could have seen them going wide receiver with Ted McMillan. But
because I don't think
I would have traded back too. Because I don't think the value that they wanted was there. And I still think they could have gotten just as good offensive linemen in like the teens.
Yeah. And then the Browns draft, Josh Simmons fell to 31.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make a ton of sense, especially when their wide receiver room has Stephon Diggs, who just tore his ACL, and Pop Douglas, Jalen Polk, who had 90 yards last year.
He had 90?
Yeah.
Holy.
And he had like 5 in the last 8 games.
Yeah. I hope he pans out. Hopefully that was just
I feel like real Husky fans know that McMillan was always better.
Yeah, for sure.
It was obvious.
I don't know. As a Huskies fan, I don't know where the Jalen Polk hype came from. He should not have gone that
Okay,
high.
and then we can Mason Graham. That was a good pick.
Blue chip prospect. He's insane if you watch him.
Yeah, just the Browns. They need
just a quality pick. But I mean, the Browns I think they could have gotten better value with Travis Hunter. But
then do you want to just skip through the?
Let's go through our notable picks and.
Okay, Membu went to the Jets, right?
Yeah. I want to talk about Ted McMillan to the Panthers.
I think I
I predicted this in my first mock draft, not my final one though.
I think I did in my first mock draft, which was my only one.
But I think I was saying like they need a true X receiver, and Bryce Young needs more help. I mean, their offense was already looked pretty good, but I mean they have Adam Thielen and Xavier Legette, but Ted McMillan is incredible. I don't know why. Like his stock, like it was like a roller coaster. It was like up, down, and then it ended up just being down. But then I guess the Panthers were just really high on him. Like in the last week leading up to the actual draft, I was seeing Ted McMillan fall all the way to us at 18, and it happened a lot. And I saw him fall even more than that. I saw people putting Luther Burden over him. I saw people putting, I don't know, just other people over him. I just don't know why. He's definitely my wide receiver one this draft. I don't know. I probably like him more than Travis Hunter as a receiver, if I'm being honest. But I love this pick for the Panthers. I mean, I think I predicted in my final mock draft they were going to go with Jalen Walker. And I do think they need defensive help, especially edge rusher. And Jalen Walker has so much upside, but I'm not mad about this Ted McMillan. The only thing I'm mad about is that we didn't get him. But Gray Zabel is definitely more reasonable pick for us.
The next notable one, I would say, is Colson Loveland to the Bears.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, I think it's...
I like it.
I kind of don't, honestly. Everyone loves this pick, and I think he's going to be good, but this is just me feeling bad for Rome, but look at their weapons room now. It's DJ Moore, Rome, Luther Burden, and then Colson Loveland. When your offensive line, I know they traded for Joe Tooney, who's super old, by the way. I think he's like 34, 35.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I know he's in his 30s. It doesn't make a ton of sense for me. And I know Bears fans will all love this pick, and understandably so. He has potential to be great, but I don't know in terms of helping our team. Like, I have nothing against Colson Loveland, but in terms of helping their team, I think there's better ways they could have went with the offensive line
Well, I kind of knew that they were going to go with a weapon because of Ben Johnson.
I just disagree with their philosophy.
Like, I low-key thought they were going to go running back with Omari and Hampton. Low-key also didn't talk about Genty, but that was kind of like, we already knew that was going to happen. But
did they not draft a running back?
The Bears?
Yeah.
I think maybe later.
Yeah.
Not like a big one.
Did they sign one?
No, because, search it up. But I thought they were going to go Tyler Warren because he's more of a Swiss Army knife, and I thought Ben Johnson could be able to do some really nifty plays with him. You know, we saw Tyler Warren even take snaps at Wildcat. He was like kind of everywhere for Penn State, so I thought they were going to take him. But I actually do like Colson Loveland more than Tyler Warren because he's more of a true pass-catching tight end.
He's just a receiver.
Yeah, but he's like really good if you watch his tape. It's kind of like jaw-dropping.
Especially with Davis Warren and Alex Orji throwing in the ball. Two horrible quarterbacks.
And, I mean, I'm a big fan of this pick. I think their O-line is pretty bad, obviously, but it's developing. Like, they have Darnell Wright, signed Joe Tooney, like Peter said. But I'm a fan of this pick. I thought they might go running back because their running back room is pretty shambles. But, yeah, I mean, like Peter said, they already have enough weapons, but I don't see how long DJ Moore is going to stay. Keenan Allen's, like, out. And So basically, Rome Odunze is their future wide receiver 1. Colson Loveland is their future tight end.
Luther Burden.
Oh my God, Luther Burden too. That's insane. Their offense, and then obviously with Caleb Williams, their offense. Like I'm not gonna lie, the Bears have become like one of my new favorite teams in the NFL ever since they drafted Rome Odunze. And like I'm not a big Caleb Williams fan, but after like his season last year, I'm kind of rooting for him because it was pretty underwhelming. And now they have Colson Loveland, a guy who I love, and Luther Burden. I love Luther Burden. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think we need to kind of skip ahead a little. So, the first round, I'm just going to say some notable picks. Emeka Ekbubi of the Bucks, kind of crazy.
That was a weird pick.
Yeah, they don't need another. I don't think receiver was the way to go there. Jahdae Barron to the Broncos. I like that pick. Their defense.
Peter's high. I'm low-key like not as high.
Their defense is going to be so good now. Marion Hampton to the Chargers. I like it. Don't know why they signed Najee.
Love that.
Matthew Golden to the Packers is very interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
I love Matthew Golden, but I don't know so much about the fit.
Because they were looking for like a true wide receiver 1 of their future. I don't know if Matthew Golden's that guy, but I mean, he was my wide receiver 2 in this draft, and I really like him. I think he's underrated, but we'll see how it turns out. I don't really know.
We talked about Josh Simmons a little. We talked about Jackson Dart, so maybe we can just talk about maybe like 1 or 2 picks from the later rounds. Yeah, we talked about all the Seahawks picks. Trey Harris to the Chargers. I love that pick for Herbert.
Let's talk about Mike Green.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk. Will Johnson as well.
Will Johnson and Mike Green.
Will Johnson, everyone, it was just because of his injuries. Fallen to pick 47 to the Cardinals. What a steal they got if he can stay healthy. He was a bona fide top 10 pick.
Dude.
That's
insane that he fell to 47.
I mean, we don't have a need at corner, but I wish we scooped him up.
Yeah, I mean,
with that Elijah Arroyo pick.
During the season, he was by far the best cornerback in the class.
I had him mocked 5th to the Jags.
Yeah, I had him 7th to the Jets in my first mock draft, and that was like at the end of the college football season. I don't understand why people injury is kind of a big concern, but like, look at the tape. He's by far the best cornerback in this draft. He's insane. He's a true lockdown cornerback. He's like a Trent McDuffie, Pat Surtain kind of guy. And the fact that he dropped to 47, I can understand some injury concern dropping to mid to late first round, but mid second round is an absolute steal. And of course, he went to our division rival, the Cardinals. But I mean, that's insane that he fell to 47. Then Mike Green fell to where? 59.
Let's go to character concerns.
Yeah, I saw that. He was my edge 2 in this draft.
Character concerns is the stupidest reason ever. It never ever works out. Look at Laramie.
Except for a quarterback. I don't really see that.
Yeah, a quarterback.
But
unless I want my edge rusher to be mean.
Yeah,
think about Laramie Tunsil. Think about who's the other one. Laramie Tunsil was going to be the first overall pick, and then he fell, and then he was an All-Pro every single year.
Yeah.
Just because he wore a gas mask and did a certain substance out of it.
Yeah.
Obviously, NFL players are
Jalen Carter
going to be doing that. Oh, yeah, Jalen Carter. That was so stupid. He was the second in the Seahawks, really. I mean, I love Devin Witherspoon. But I feel like we've already talked about this. We have. He's an absolute game wrecker.
Yeah.
So I think that could be an absolute steal for the Ravens. Shame they don't have the defensive guru as their defensive coordinator anymore, Mike McDonald. But yeah, I think we can move on to talk about the Mariners. Okay, so it's kind of been a roller coaster season. Started off not very great. Jorge Polanco doing absolutely insane. And then we went on a streak, winning 7 straight series, and then now we've lost a bunch.
2.
We've got swept by the Blue Jays, and we won 1 against the Yankees. So we're 1-5 in our last 6 games, which is not great. But we have a game
tonight against the Padres.
Yeah, against the Padres. So it's there, right?
Yeah.
Love that park, by the way. But let's talk about specific players. I don't think we need to talk about this a ton, but in terms of specific players, Jorge Polanco having an absolutely insane year. I'm going to pull up the statistics, the advanced stats on him. But what have you been seeing with him so far, Francis?
Well, last year I was a little underwhelmed with him. I mean, he was a great player.
He played really bad last year, but he was really good for the Twins.
That's what I'm saying. He was really good for the Twins, but he was pretty underwhelming last season. I was excited to get a switch hitter on our team. But this year, he's just been raking, and he's just been such a consistent hitter. And the funny thing about the Mariners offense, or the Mariners team so far this season, is like it's kind of the opposite of what people expected. The pitching has kind of been subpar, while the offense has been like off the charts. So that's interesting.
Okay, just pulled up his Baseball Savant stats. Just if you want to know about how good an actual baseball player is in each category, it's such a great website, analytics based. Also recommend using Fangraphs when you look at stats. Okay, I'm just gonna go read through his stats. It says his batting run value, which is like his overall, the way he produces as an offense player, is in the 96th percentile. Ex-WOBA, expected weighted on base average, is in the 99th percentile.
Jeez.
Expected batting average is in the 99th percentile. Expected slugging is in the 98th percentile. Average exit velocity, for a guy like him, he's in the 86th percentile. Barrel rate, he's in the 93rd percentile. Hard hit rate, he's in the 91st percentile. Sweet spot percentage in the 80th percentile, squared up percentage in the 96th percentile, strikeout rate in the 92nd, which is good. Fielding, he's not great. Who cares? He's just absolutely mashing this year. So absolutely love this. Such a pleasant surprise. I'm really happy we re-signed him. But then let's talk about, Cal doing his thing. I mean, everyone knows he's the GOAT. He's just been mashing this year.
Is he still leading?
No, I think he's maybe tied. The kid bats. He bats 240 or 250, and then his OPS is 950. And it's not even like his on base percentage. His slugging is insane. He only hits extra base hits and nukes. And if we had more people got on base in front of him, it would be insane. But the offense has been great so far. The pitching has been a really big bummer. But first, I want to talk about Julio, and then we can move on and close the episode out with the pitching. Julio, so I'm going to go over his Baseball Savant stats in comparison. They're not bad. He has his OPS is 720 right now, which is not great. It's down. Last year was not great, but his rookie year was great. His rookie year was good. Last year was not very good. But his batting run value is average at 54 percentile. Base running is 85th, but fielding is 96th. Everyone saw that home run robbery.
That was insane.
He's a great fielder. And he can get to so many spots, and it looks like it's just a routine fly ball, but not a lot of other center fielders can get there. Mm-hmm. Looking at what he's doing well, his average exit velocity is great. His expected stats are pretty good, so I'm expecting that his averages and his statistics will come up just based on analytics. For him last year and then his bat speed, he's in the 93rd percentile. But his chase and whiff rate are both horrible. And I think if you watch a game, every single time it's so frustrating. He goes down 0-2. And, Okay, but moving on to the pitching. It's just been... I think every pitcher besides Brian Wu has struggled.
Yeah, or, gotten injured.
Yeah, Wu has been great. Bryce Miller has not been very good. Luis Castillo has been a little up and down, but he's been fine.
He's been pretty bad though.
I don't know. I think he had one.
And then Logan Gilbert was pretty good, phenomenal when he was healthy, and then he got hurt. George Kirby then gets hurt.
And then whenever we have Hancock, it never works.
But Munoz.
Oh my goodness, he gave up that one run.
But it wasn't his fault though. It was Dylan Moore with a throwing error. So I mean. Really, he has 0 earned runs in the season, but 1 earned run in how many innings? 20 innings?
Kirby has a 3.53 ERA. I haven't looked at the advanced stats, so I'll definitely be making a TikTok on that in the upcoming days. So stay tuned for that. I'm just going to go and talk about all the stats of the Mariners pitching so you can get a bigger idea for that. But I think it'll come around because there's so much talent, but it would be really nice if they could be really good at the same time as the offense because as much as I would hope, I don't think this offensive production can be sustainable. I don't think Jorge Polanco having a 1,200 OPS is sustainable. Definitely no offense to the guy, but it's just not very realistic. Although the stats prove otherwise, but maybe he's just on a hot streak. So you never really know there. We'll definitely check in about the Mariners a lot more throughout we'll probably do every episode. We'll have a check-in about them until the season's over.
Yeah. Well, it's also about the guys you don't really expect to do well that are batting pretty well recently, and that's definitely not sustainable. Miles Mastrobuoni, and like, I mean, Ben Williamson's looking been on a tear.
He's a great fielder.
Yeah, and his bat is like, I mean, he had one robbed.
Yeah.
By Grisham, but like the worst guys that you don't expect to be good have been playing really well, which is definitely not sustainable. Like Peter said, Jorge Polanco is not sustainable. I do think Cal Raleigh, like hopefully he keeps this up. Like I think that is pretty sustainable, batting 250, 240 with 40 home runs. I mean, and then Julio, I think he's going to turn it up. It's what he normally does. Like last season, he did the same thing. He kind of went in a slump, and then he absolutely turned it up during like right before the All-Star break. We just need to get a groove going because baseball's a big game of momentum. Like we saw that we won 7 straight series and then we lose 2. I know it's to 2 pretty good teams, but we need to beat the good teams in order to make a deep playoff run if we really want to. And I know we have the caliber of team to do that. We just need to keep the bats hot, and the pitching will come. I'm not like I know for a fact. I don't have a doubt that the pitching won't be good. So. Hopefully the Mariners offense can keep this up. If they can, then who knows? Maybe World Series.
Mm-hmm. All right, thank you guys for listening. Stay tuned. We're going to be posting a lot more recently. It was just the spring is so busy for everything, especially because we're juniors. I know every junior says that, but it's true.
It's true.
But now summer's starting. Hopefully, I'm just hard to get through these last couple weeks, but we'll have an episode before school ends.
Yeah,
and then we'll take it from there.
All right, thank you.